Myers Metal Detectors, located in sunny Tampa, Florida, where we sell nothing but fun and adventures, treasure hunting gear, and anything you can imagine for metal detecting. Give us a call, 813-237-1939. Happy hunting and dig deeper.
Live from sunny Florida, it's Treasure Talk.
Welcome, folks.
Welcome, welcome.
Welcome to another exciting edition of Treasure Talk.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And the fall is on the way, and it is here.
It is. Our weather's changed here
I'm
too,
wearing
Jeff.
long sleeves. It's cold.
I'm not ready for long sleeves yet, but it was nice to be outside in a t-shirt. Let me just say that. Wasn't our sweltering heat. It just felt like it was a little less humidity, and I think we were just like in the low 80s.
Well, we were only low mid-70s today.
Okay.
I'm supposed to get down to about 58 tonight, so I better get the electric blanket out, eh?
Yes, for sure. I was thinking about I have one of those little stainless fire pits that I put in the backyard, and I just dream about getting out there and putting a couple logs in it and lighting it.
You could take Jocelyn out for dinner, just get some marshmallows and a couple of dogs.
Some s'mores. We could have those.
That's right.
It's nice. We're about to get into the dirt digging season here in Tampa. So, and we've got an awesome guest tonight who's a world-renowned author too. So maybe we can ask him about that. And this is actually going to be given away tonight. A nice door prize.
It is a great one. It's a great one.
Yes.
So we might as well get on with it and do the housekeeping.
Yes, let me get started then. Of course, today's show is brought to you by your friends at Myers Metal Detectors, where, of course, we sell fun and adventure, and that's kind of what Garrett does. They manufacture fun and adventure.
That's right.
The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by the Treasure Talk guest and member belong solely to the guest and member and not necessarily to Phil Myers, Justin Myers, Myers Metal Detectors, or Jeff Monin. That's a lot to say. And of course, the purpose of Treasure Talk is to promote the hobby of metal detecting and treasure hunting and to educate our members in a fun, informative manner. And that's exactly what we do here every week. As long as it's not hurt.
We're definitely doing that tonight. And we thought we might try something a little different tonight to see how it works with the question session. So about halfway through the show, I'm going to pop a link up into the chat. And if you have a question for our guest, you just click the link to join. I'll bring you on. You can ask your question, and then I'll remove you, and he can answer your question. So we're going to try that tonight and see how that works. So get ready. It's very easy to do. You click the link and follow the directions to bring you right on. I'll admit you. We'll ask your question of our guest, and then I will banish thee.
Yes.
And get the question answered. So,
Jeff, is that on Facebook or is that on YouTube or both?
That's on YouTube.
Okay.
If they're watching on Facebook, it will be in the chat. So it should go out to all the Facebook too. So whomever is out there chatting. I know Jocelyn is monitoring Treasure Talk.
Yes.
And we are on my personal page. We're on Myers Metal Detectors Facebook. We're on Florida Metal Detecting Facebook, Treasure Talk Facebook, YouTubes, and Twitter. So everybody is tuned in, can see the chat, and we should be good to go.
Absolutely. Can you see it on there, Joss?
Well, I haven't put the link up, but
I was asking if she sees the show on Treasure Talk, because for some reason I'm not
in trouble with the phone.
It's always Facebook. It always gives me grief, Jeff.
Well, Facebook gives everybody grief.
It does, for sure.
You know, but I'm not going to say anything about them. They're revengeful people.
So Buddhist, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. They go, yeah, no live stream for you.
That's right.
They'll put me in Facebook jail for, along with Rick Tubbleson always in Facebook jail, along with Captain Fizz, so I'd have good company.
Okay,
So,
now I found us.
okay, good. Now let's go ahead and let's get our guest on here because we are burning daylight.
Yes, we are.
And you people out there, you have seen him before, and I know you're very excited to see him again. One of the most knowledgeable people in the metal detecting industry today, a published New York Times best-selling author, by the way, and just an all-around nice guy and a great detectorist. Let's bring on Steve Moore from Garrett Metal Detectors.
Hey,
Good
Jeff. Hey, Phil. How you doing tonight?
Hey, welcome, Steve.
Good, we're good.
Yeah, and besides being a well-known author, he's also on sometimes you'll see him on the Military History Channel.
Yeah, I've been on a couple programs here and there to talk about some of the World War II subjects I've done books on.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's always I'll be walking in the back room here, and then I'll hear your voice on. I'm real good at distinguishing people's voice, and boom, I knew it was you on the Military History Channel. So that's always cool. But today we're going to talk about Garrett metal detectors, right?
That's it.
Awesome. So, I remember back when the AT Pro came out, and that detector I could not. It's still a good seller, but I couldn't keep it in stock. And I guess that was what 2010, or that was a long time ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's probably been at least 10 years. If I had to guess, I'd have to go back and look. It's been a while, but it's still a great seller, like you said. Very
Yeah.
popular out there.
It's very popular, and I think it started the resurgence of metal detecting because it was a multi-purpose detector that was waterproof, and just
Yeah.
everybody had that. And of course, then you had the two guys, KJ and Ringy, who we've had on here before, doing the TV show, and that just drove sales to the Garrett products. And it just was awesome detector, still made today, and people just love it.
Yeah, even if you're not going to the water, people at these hunts, you'd see them all of a sudden putting bags over their detectors when the rainstorms hit and racing for the car. And we'd just stand out there in the rain like idiots and keep on digging if we were finding stuff. Because
Yeah, but you get better signals in the rain, Steve.
absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, it goes deeper when there's all that moisture in the ground. As long as there's not lightning, I'm not afraid to be standing in the rain.
And I think with what Garrett did with the accessories for the AT Pro, they just knocked it out of the park. And the smartest thing I think that you guys ever did was when you came out with the AT Pro, you had a winner and you didn't start trying to tweak it so much. You still got the good old AT Pro that's proven, it works, and it's a great detector.
Yeah, people love the simplicity of it. I mean, it can be complicated if you want it to be, but it's very simple. And
Yeah, it's got the standard mode, so it runs like a regular detector, but then you go to the pro modes and you can get extra depth, extra audio, extra target ID, so you can step your way up into it, if you will, if you're a beginner. So it was a great crossover machine in respect to that.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was my first machine.
It's a lot of people's first detector was the AT Pro, and it just was simple enough that if you hunt in the standard modes, you can be new at detecting and really do well with it. Easy to learn, and it's still a good seller. So hats off to Garrett for that, and I think for the resurgence and the metal detecting hobby when that came out, that really got people into detecting. So I know people are going to ask, tell us about the new detector coming out.
Yeah, so the next one coming up, we've gone and done a couple things really geared toward the prospecting community, and it's a big market. South America, Alaska, parts of North America, Africa, and places like that. The Australian market's always been huge, but to have a really good VLF machine, we came out with a revamped version of the White's Goldmaster 24K, and it operates at a much higher frequency than, say, our AT Gold did, which makes it hot on little tiny gold. That said, though, if you've done much prospecting or been in really bad grounds, even here in the States, there's some really nasty soil. There's a point where a single frequency or even a simultaneous multi-frequency machine is going to be challenged by the severe dirt. And as prospectors know, that's where most of the nuggets are going to be found. So what do you need to have? You need to have a really good pulse machine. So in the form of the Axiom, Garrett is putting out its most powerful, most advanced PI machine that we've ever made. Yeah, I'm not knocking what we've done in the past, but this is a step above. And it's got a lot of the newer features that people want to see. You know, a smaller box on there. It's got USB rechargeability to it, so built-in internal battery. So you can expect more than a full day of detecting, even if you're going to go sun up to sundown on a single charge. If you get into a bind and it happens to run out, you've got a battery pack you can slip underneath it, get another 6 hours or so out in the field. And if you go longer than that, you can pop in another set of batteries on that guy. But recharge time is really good. Some places, even in the boonies out there in Australia, you can get some of our accessories and clip it onto a car battery or a motorcycle battery if you have to recharge it that way.
I'll be darned.
Kind of like the Apex, it's got the ability to go in and upgrade. You know, as we release any upgrades or revamps on the software package, you can simply plug it into a PC or an Apple and upgrade your performance, upgrade your machine to the latest, greatest software.
Okay, good. So you guys have already thought about the Apple users and already got it done, because a lot of them come out and say, oh, they have to do a PC and it doesn't work on a Mac or anything like that. And that causes some grief.
Yeah, in fact, when we came out with the Apex, that was one of the things we heard. Our first run out, we were on PC only. And for me, I've been, you know, at work I use PCs, but at home I've used decades, and I've used Macs since they first came out. So to have that ability was a plus, and we did go back and add that to the Apex. So if you go into Garrett.com and you've got an Apex, you can upgrade it on Apple or on PC. And of course, we'll follow through with the same strategy with Axiom. So keep her up to date, keep her up to speed, and keep on finding.
That makes me happy.
Yeah, that's awesome. That'll make me happy too, because I'm sitting here on my Mac computer, and I've always had Mac since 1984, so I'm used to them. And I just, whenever I've had to have a PC, which I had to have for certain applications, it just drove me nuts. So I'm glad it's on the Apple platform too. That does make it easier. Now,
Yeah, we might be dating ourselves, Phil, but if you remember on some of my first Macs, there wasn't even a hard drive. That was external, had to put in the disk, had to put in the software, save it on another drive.
Right, it does. And I remember my first Mac was a Mac 512 or something. It wasn't even a whole megabyte. So now that does date us. But now, what about the Garrett ATX? Is that still going to be manufactured, or?
Yeah, it's still going to be manufactured. There's a lot of folks that like how robust it is, you know, kind of military grade, really tough, durable plastic, and the fact that it's submersible.
Yeah.
With the Axiom, it's made, you know, 90% primarily for folks that are out prospecting. It's just not something where they're out submerging it very often. But if those guys are going to go to the beach and want to get out there up to their neck in the waves, I think the ATX will still be viable for that.
Yeah.
You know, over time, we'll see, you know, if the desire is still there in big form. But for now, we're going to continue with it and see what the market bears.
Yeah, for sure. And do you have the pricing on what the Axiom is going to be?
The street price, if you will, the map on that is $39.95. Okay. And there's a couple of different packages that are offered. If you go to Garrett.com, you can take a look at it. But there's 13-inch and 11-inch coils. There's double D and there's mono versions. One of them is kind of the Outback or remote version, if you will. So it comes in with plug-in headphones, because folks out there may have more difficulty charging additional, you know, accessories when they're out there where they just don't have any power. And they both come with the battery pack. The other kit has also 2 coils included with it, but it's got the MS3 wireless headphones.
Okay.
So for me, that's the way I'm probably going to go. But there are people, Africa, you know, for those that don't know, is a huge market. A lot of countries over there where they're finding gold year in and year out, and they're super remote. So some of those just like plug in headphones and go. So take your pick. Either option's available on the website at the same price.
Yeah, I think the wireless is the way to go for us anyway over here. It just is so much easier than to be tethered to the detector. And I'm sure in gold country, you've got all kind of obstacles with that headphone wire that you probably don't want to have. So
Yeah, it's not as pretty digging a hole as if you're at the beach, digging up a silver coin or something, or out at the park. I mean, you've got a pick and you're just flailing at the ground and you're chiseling through stone pretty much to get down to a nugget. So yeah, that cable could certainly get in the way or get chopped up if you're not careful.
Yeah, is Garrett going to, or maybe you do? I'm not sure. Do you manufacture a pick?
We did years ago. We had a pick that was pretty popular, but it's gone out of stock, and we're not currently selling it. So there's plenty of people that make picks out there, but I've still got a couple in the garage. I'll probably take them with me on my next trip. It's great, but I mean, what you really need is a good, strong rare earth magnet on the end of it, because if you're going through and if you're using a mono coil, or say you don't have the iron check, you want to sweep the ground with a magnet and see if your target comes up. If it does, it's an old boot nail or some other piece of trash. But if it's not, then hey, you better keep digging it. It might be a piece of lead, might be a piece of gold, might be something really good.
Yeah.
yeah, that Garrett pick did have the magnet on the end. I'm here in Florida, so I don't see them that often, but every once in a while, somebody will bring a used one in the shop, and it had a big magnet on the end of it. So that was a nice pick for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's a staple item for a prospector. You've got to have a really strong pick out there, and certainly some kind of magnet on the end if you want to, speed up the recovery of the good stuff.
Well, that begs a question. We're talking about the headphones. Will the Z-Link work with this as well, Steve?
Yes, it will. I mean, like I said, on one of the packages, it will come standard with the Z-Link MS3 wireless headphones. The other one will have a plug-in standard Garrett headphones included, but it's wireless ready. So if they had a dealer and they wanted to go buy wireless headphones in some other country, they can certainly do that.
Okay,
We've had a mixture here, even in the States. A couple of dealers said, well, I got some guys that would rather have this package versus that package. So the options there. It comes with two good sized coils, one being the 11-inch coil, which is really good, a lot of power in that thing to really punch through the ground. Then you want to step up to a 13-inch and cover a little more ground. And we also have a 16-inch, a very large coil for that. Your performance is going to be obviously a little bit stronger on the tighter 11-inch coil. But if you're going for, average size to good size nuggets or bigger targets, a lot of people are going to put on that big coil and cover more ground with it and get some great depth.
cool. Very cool. Now, how much does the Axiom weigh?
Ooh, let's see. I'm going to get the line here. It's somewhere in the 5-pound some odd range. It is a good couple of pounds lighter than the ATX when it's, womped out with one of the good coils on it. The thing is, it's perfectly balanced. I mean, we got one of the videos where one of the guys has it just balanced on his fingertip like this. The smaller box, the built-in battery, the ergonomics are really good on this detector. So even with a larger coil, you can swing for hours out there. So for anybody that's picked up an ATX and swung that, it is significantly lighter than that. And it's the lightest in its category with a comparable size coil on it. So if you're used to swinging one of the other ones with a big giant motorcycle battery on there, this is going to be a real treat when you pick it up and swing it for 4 hours, 6 hours out in the field.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I think I had seen some videos of someone using it on the Salt Beach, and it performs well there too.
It does. In fact, one of the modes it has is salt mode. So if you've used the Apex down at the coast, it gets really quiet and does really well on the salt. You'll have, inland, even in prospecting areas, dry salt beds and things like that, where you've got a lot of salt content mixed with mineralized ground. So you can hunt the coastline, but out in the prospecting areas where you hit those salt patches, you've definitely got a mode to go to with that to run very efficiently.
Awesome. Well, I guess I should start with some of the questions that we had emailed into us. And this one is from Lewis Bean, and he's asking, when is the Apex AT version coming out to compete
Yeah,
with the other brands that are waterproof? Because I know personally, I have a lot of customers who love the Apex, the Ace Apex, and they would just like to see it waterproof. So if they drop it in the water, they're not out to lunch. You know what I mean?
absolutely. I could completely identify with that. I generally go with the family at least once a year to Florida, and what do? I hunt the beach. I go out early morning, late at night. You're in the edge of the water. Sometimes you're going out deeper if it's warm enough. And right now I'm switching back to one of my other machines, and I'm in the same boat. I'm ready for us to have something like that in a fully waterproof case. So I would think the expectation is going forward, you'll probably see more from Garrett in a waterproof packaging. I don't have a timeline of when that would be, but we would definitely appreciate that suggestion. And I personally agree with that because I'm in the water. I'm in lakes, I'm in rivers, and at the beach, and you just don't want to have to stop if you don't have to and switch to something else. If you've got that all-terrain versatility, there you go. No worries.
Yeah, I just know that people want that product, and Garrett being the U.S. manufacturer, a lot of people they're wanting that for sure. So I think there's some pent up demand for that, Steve.
I think you're right, Phil, and stay tuned. We'll see what we can do on that. But we appreciate the input. We always like to listen to our customers. When we have rallies we go to, or even one that we hold, that's one thing we want to do is just, what do you like? What do you not like? And, we're not going to make everybody happy every day of the year, but we're happy to listen to you and see what you're looking for and what's going to step your game up to the next level.
Well, you mentioned something interesting, Steve, about rallies. Don't you guys have one coming up?
We do. In fact, we have the Garrett Memorial #5. We kind of took a break with the COVID and all that. I know a lot of people were kind of disappointed this past year, but we are ramping up to go bigger and better than ever. I can tell you it's going to be in the same location where we had it a couple years ago, which is Canton, Texas. And the good thing about that is they've got a great expo center there. And once again, we're going to hold this in conjunction with the Texas Association of Metal Detecting Clubs, or TAMDC as they're called. And Terry Smith and his group put together a great show. That part's free for the public. You can come in and see the clubs. You can come see all these treasure cases on display. They have tons of raffles for gold and silver coins and all kinds of cool prizes. So the show will be going on throughout the weekend. If the wife wants to come along and let's say she doesn't like to detect, there's some cool stuff to check out there. Saturday during the day, and by the way, this weekend is going to be April 14, 15, and 16 in Texas. So mark your calendars, take a look at Garrett.com. We were trying to put the link up today. We're actually going to put it up sometime tomorrow morning. We had some folks emailing because you said on or about Monday the 3rd. Well, today's the 3rd. So we apologize for that delay. We will put it up tomorrow. And those that want to jump in can sign in and get enrolled with that. If you've been to this before, we've got a lot of great hunts, big silver hunt, thousands of silver coins go on the ground. And I think in the past we had 150 or more prize tokens in that hunt. We also had a big relic hunt in the past, thousands of mini balls, round balls, flat buttons, eagle buttons, even some artillery pieces, belt plates out in the field. And then also, I think it was 150 or more prize tokens out in the field to find. So this time we're going to have a couple more really big hunts in the same kind of vein as that. The one that was traditionally called the relic hunt is probably going to be the relic and coin hunt, which means we'll put some more coins out there with it. Lean more heavily on silver for the silver hunt, but Indian head pennies and other older age coins might be mixed in with the relics out there, so that if you're not a big time Civil War hunter, there's going to be some other really cool finds to make out there. And of course, on top of all the prize tokens there are to find, maybe even some cash tokens out in the field, instant win. we're still kicking around with the committee some of the fun stuff we can do to really jazz it up. And Friday night, we'll probably do a kind of a warm-up hunt. Those that get checked in midday, there'll be some free range hunting on the property. Had some folks email in because you said on or about Monday the 3rd. Well, today getting a little feedback there, but we apologize for that delay. We will put it up tomorrow. And anyway, I'll just continue on. I'm just getting some feedback on that. But yeah, on Friday night, there'll be a warm-up hunt. And for those that get into that, there'll be some prize tokens and some other cool stuff to find. And another interesting twist on this one, in addition to the TAMDC Treasure Show going on at the Expo Center there, Saturday during the day, right now we have scheduled Mr. Jace Robertson from Duck Dynasty. He's going to show up and do a treasure talk. And for those that haven't saw his show this year, he did Duck Family Treasure, which is kind of the same vein as the old Duck Dynasty. The different twist being he and his brother Jep and their buddy Murray, they're out looking for treasure. Now you got Uncle Si and all the other characters from the Robertson clan there. But anyway, long story short, we're going to have Jace out there. Maybe some of the others, we'll see, but Jace for sure. And he's going to talk about how did he get into metal detecting? How did that become a TV show? And is this just something he does just for the show? Or does he really get out there on the weekends and the off days? And does he search for Civil War? What cool stuff has he found? And I'm sure he'll be open to taking some audience questions. And then also, like I said, to wrap it up over the weekend, what we're told is TAMDC is probably going to do an additional silver hunt of their own that weekend. So I think there's a chance if you don't go home with some silver in your pocket, I'd say you're just not trying very hard.
Heck yeah. Now, people are asking, what are your travel plans coming up? Immediate, short-term, long-term, where are you going to be at?
Oh, I got a couple of things coming up. Just on a personal note, I got to take my son, my youngest that's still in the house. We're going to go look at a college here this next week. But beyond that, with Garrett, we've got some trade shows coming up. I'm going to be heading over to Australia later in October. Got a group of guys going over there to do a big rally they've got, the Australian National Championship. And then we're going to head out to the boonies, out kind of west of Sydney, out to the gold country. And we're going to spend a week really, going through the Axiom. I've got a couple guys that are very in tune with the machine. They've been using it more so than me. I've tested it in Virginia. I've gone to the gold country in California with it. But I'm really excited to get to Australia and really get out there in the outback and just hunker down and try to find some nuggets with it.
Awesome.
Go on walkabout.
Well, I've got a question here. This is from Nelson Neil Rosario, and I can answer this one, or you can answer it, Steve. But he's asking, is there a multi-frequency detector from Garrett that's affordable? And I'll answer it first, and you can chime in too, Steve. And I would say yes. The Garrett Ace 8-packs is multi-frequency, and I think it's real affordable. It's available in different packages too. And for us here in Florida, I don't know where Nelson's at, if he's here in Florida or not, but I know I have customers. Where's he at?
I think he's in California.
Oh, okay. Well, I know that people in the Florida beaches love it. It does an excellent job, and it is wireless compatible, so for the headphones at least, and does a nice job. You want to chime in, Steve?
Yeah, in Florida, obviously Phil knows about it. He carries the machine. There's several different part numbers for it. You can get it with the 6x11 Viper coil, which I'd love the size of that for really working in the water and working in tight spots. But there's also the Raider package with an 8.5/11 coil, a double D, and there's options to get it with or without the headphones. So I think there's flexibility in the pricing, just depending on what you want to pay. Some people got their own brand of headphones they like. That's fine. It's wireless. Hook up a Z-Link box to it. Use whatever headphones you want, or pick up the one that's got the MS3 headphones already in it. And those are great at the beach, especially kind of like these headphones that they cover your ears and they block the wind and the surf noise and all that. So, great package. The salt mode really works. I've tested it a number of times at the beaches. So That's our affordable entry into the simultaneous multi-frequency. It does have single frequencies, so if you want to run 10 kilohertz or 15 kilohertz or something different, you can opt for that. You can opt for the simultaneous salt mode or the simultaneous multi-frequency mode. So 6 different options on how you can run that baby. So pretty versatile.
Awesome.
Very, very good. Let's give away a shovel.
Let's do it.
So after we do the giveaway, then I'm going to pop the link up in the chat for you to join briefly to ask Steve a question, and then we'll take you off screen and he can answer your question for you. So we're going to try that tonight. But, excuse me, what we did was all of our advertising and posting for what we're giving away is a razor shovel from Garrett. Fantastic product. Phil, you want to hold one up?
Yes, I carry it for you guys who aren't lucky enough to win it tonight. We do have them in the store, and they can come in and pick it up, or we could ship it out to you.
Now, if I know the answer, could I win it?
Yeah.
No? Sure. Keep on dreaming.
It's an awesome product. And, I have to remind folks, if you don't see it on my website, I probably have it in the store. This is probably a product there that I haven't put on the site yet, but I'm a little slow on the computer work. So I'd rather sell products in the store. But if it's not on my site, just call me. I'll put it on there real quick and you can purchase it that way too, if that's what you want to do. But we sell most of our stuff in the store, but we do have a website that you can purchase from too. But unfortunately, when we get some products, we don't get them on the website right away. So I had to put that disclaimer in. So Jeff,
he's too busy eating key lime pie and blueberry cobbler and stuff.
That's what it is.
That's
it.
Eat
this 250-pound body by not eating. So
that's right. That's right. So what you had to do is you had to enter on every place that we live stream. I've compiled all the names. I have the name. What you had to put was, I want a Garrett razor digging tool. And I'm about to announce the name. You'll have 3 minutes in order to respond with your name. And you are here either via text or Facebook Messenger. To Phil or myself, our numbers are scrolling along the bottom of the screen. And then what you must do is you must send an email to treasuretalkshow@gmail.com with your name, address, and phone number. And that way I can forward it to Steve and they can get your product right out to you. So that's the most expedient way. And that's the only way that we accept your information. So with that being said, get your fingers ready, get ready to text or messenger, because who we have Jeep Extreme 4x4. You are the winner of a Garrett razor digging implement, and you have 3 minutes to respond.
Gotta love the 4x4.
Yeah.
And a Jeep Extreme, maybe he takes it out in the backcountry and detects.
I would imagine he does. I'm not sure where the young man lives, but or the young lady. It could be a young lady.
Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, my son's got a Jeep and he loves that, to go out, and there's some foothills and stuff about an hour down the road, and it's awesome getting off road. I mean, and sometimes that's what you need to get to some of these detecting sites we go to,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Jeeps are still very popular. I remember the first one I had, this was back in the early 70s, where they were, that's before they were really jazzing them up. Had an old CJ5, and that sucker could go anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
So I guess what we could do right now, I still have some more questions, but we'll roll through the Garrett product line. And for you folks who are just getting into the hobby, the Ace products are still top sellers in my shop. The Ace 200, 300, 400. And then let's see, the AT Pro, AT Max. These are all ones we stock. And then, of course, the C100 Mark II. We don't talk much about that one, but that is probably the least expensive underwater dive detector or beach hunting detector that's on the market today.
Yeah, that one's built like a tank. I mean, it's really tested out to 200 feet or more, so it's beyond where sport divers are going to go and treasure divers go. I mean, you're getting to commercial depths when you get to 200 feet. But we've done some wreck dives and stuff with it. Found cannonballs and some old coins and ship spikes and fun stuff like that. I haven't done as much diving in the past few years as I'd like to, but that's a whole other adventure in itself. Got some buddies up in the Great Lakes and different places. That's all they do. They find jewelry and coins right and left. And,
Right. Yeah, it's an awesome detector, and we stock that one too. And the one thing I like about it a lot is your headphones and your coil, you can swap them out yourself. If you have that detector for a long time and you cut the headphone wire or whatnot, you could just pop another set of headphones on it and away you go. And you're right, it is built like a tank. It's an awesome detector. And for somebody who doesn't want a real expensive detector, that's one you can go beach hunting or diving. And it's an awesome detector to have in your arsenal for sure.
absolutely.
So, Jeff, did we get our 3 minutes up?
Our 3 minutes are up and they must not be tuned in. So we're going to move on. Mr. Bob Marks, you've got 3 minutes.
Bob Marks.
Now,
You have a nice shovel. And I like the sheath you guys put on it. That's awesome. So keeps your car clean if you put that back on it in your car and you don't cut anything up either.
Yeah, you got to be careful with it. I mean, it comes out of the box actually pretty razor sharp, as the name indicates. Some people will put it on a grinder and sharpen it even further, but man, I can tell you it really punches through the bad soil. Terrific, cuts through the roots and everything. So I love it.
All righty.
works great.
And I guess I better open my message thing up in case they text me.
Yeah, that would probably be a good idea, Phil.
So I don't get in trouble.
Well, you won't get in trouble. I'll get in trouble. But you'll be in trouble by proxy, let's say. So
I'll blame it on Jeff always for sure.
Well, while we're waiting on them to respond, we're kind of talking about the Garrett hunt. So tomorrow, that's going to be up and running. The hunt, some people were asking, it's $250 for all the hunts. It's all inclusive this time. Includes a T-shirt, for free if you register early. You get the treasure talk with Jace Robertson. You get the Friday evening hunt. You got the treasure show going all weekend. So tons and tons of prizes, countless thousands of dollars in silver. The more money that comes in, the more we're going to put in the ground. But for those that have been to the hunt in the past, without bragging, they'll tell you that it's a lot. It's a lot of coins. It's a lot of relics. It's a lot of prizes. So we love it. We look forward to seeing all the people and hope to see a lot of the listeners come out and join us next April. But did you get a winner there, Phil?
We sure did.
Right.
Bob Marks, he's sending his information, and as soon as I get it in, I'll forward it to you, Steve, and he can get his shovel soon.
All right, sounds good.
And like I said, folks, if you want the Garrett shovel, we've got them in the shop, so you could stop in and see me, or we could ship it out to you. But if it's not on my website, just call me. And that's with any product. A lot of the products take a little time to get put on the website. So here, let's go back to some questions that we had emailed in. Unless, Jeff, you were typing somebody in, were you?
I am not. They haven't responded yet. I put the link up into the chat, and we'll see if somebody wants to come in.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, this one, I was interested in this, and I'm going to change this. This is from Mark Walters, and I'm going to ask this a little bit different. He's asking if you ever sneak off and use non-Garrett products, but I would ask the same thing. Do the Garrett team, do they try other detector brands?
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, that's part of product testing and product development. I probably had one of the first Deos machines that I came back with from Europe after one trip, and I was on my way back to Florida, so I took it to the beach and went hunting with it. You name one of the current brands that's out there, and I'll probably put in a few hours testing it out. People say, oh, this one goes deeper, this one does better. A lot of times it's simply a matter of understanding your machine and what it does, and are you running it to the fullest? You know how to run your machine, but always want to look at the other guys, see what they're doing, see what people like. I mean, granted, there's some other good manufacturers out there that put out good machines, and if you don't keep an eye on what they're doing or what people like about them, it's kind of silly on your part. So to answer the question, do I regularly go hunt with other machines? No. I mean, I'm Garrett loyal.
Yeah.
But have I tried a lot of them? Yeah, I'll put in some hours here and there, just especially when it's newer, just to see what's coming out and what it does. So
That's just
yes.
smart business.
Yeah, it is smart business to keep an eye on the competition, what they're doing, and hopefully if they do make something that you like, make it even better on the Garrett product. So that's that's just smart business. You're absolutely right, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, I won't sit here and be dishonest. I mean, take a Garrett machine. If I look at it, AT Max or one of the ones I love, there's always a couple little things that I wish, if it had this or if it had that. So you've always got to look ahead at what you're going to do next and what you can do better, because I don't think any manufacturer is going to put out a machine and go, that's it, we're done, nothing else, we're done improving. I mean, there's always something else, some other twist to put in there, some other bells and whistles. And then that's what you do. You go out and prospect, or you relic hunt like I do, or you coin shoot, and you start realizing, what do you need? What would improve your game? Maybe it's a shovel, maybe it's a pouch, maybe it's multi-frequency, whatever the trick of the day is, things to look into.
That's what brings you out better to your broader audience. Because one thing about Garrett is you got pretty much all your bases covered for the types of hunting that people do. I think you really made your bones in relic hunting, so to speak. I think that's, Garrett's forte is relic hunting.
And a lot of it
better at it.
Yeah, and a lot of it, again, I'll say is have a quality machine, a solid machine that performs, that you understand. And I've seen people make tremendous finds with lesser expensive machines. Case in point, there's a lady and Jan over in England. I've seen her probably 10 years ago at some of the rallies we went to, always wearing camo pants, always got spiked, crazy colored hair. She's a wonderful lady. And she's always running an Ace. She's used different ones over the years. And we were in England about a month ago, and we're at this huge rally. And there's a field supposed to have all this Roman stuff in it. And there's probably 1,200, 1,500 people in that field with every detector imaginable, any brand, any style. And old G.I. Jan comes back, and she's got one of the most beautiful little hammered coins she found with her Ace, just puttering along, knowing the sounds, knowing what to go for. I mean, she smoked most of us with her find in that particular morning. And she just knows it. She's like, I know a good signal, I know a bad signal, and it works, So get your machine, put some hours in, learn it. Like Charles Garrett said many years ago, it still rings true. Whatever you're getting when you start out, put in 10, 20, even 100 hours digging all kinds of stuff. Dig trash, dig all the junk, dig all the signals at first. You may think you're an expert because you've got notch discrimination or iron audio or something, but you need to learn what targets can do to other targets and how they interact, and things on edge and things adjacent to iron. So he would always say, dig everything for a while and really get your head wrapped around the machine. And I think regardless of brand, that's still pretty solid advice today.
Oh, it is.
Great advice. Great advice. Because we always kid, when we're going to the beach, you see somebody come up off the beach, and it doesn't make any difference what detector they've got. And they say, well, you guys are wasting your time. We got it all. And I go, okay, yeah. Tell me a Western, because you just told me it's science fiction. And you look at how some of the people have their detectors set up. They're discriminating out all kinds of stuff, and they say, oh, well, that's a pull tab. Well, you know what? You better dig some of those pull tabs, because they ring up just like gold rings, and silver rings and stuff. So I agree with Charles Garrett. Let's dig a good portion of it. You may be surprised what comes out of the ground.
Yeah, I mean, that from the water hunting. Obviously, we've done a couple lake hunts in the past month or two. and we did one just on a local North Texas lake here, and I had a bag full of pull tabs, pull rings. Just they're everywhere. You can't get around them. But at the end of the day, I had 2 rings also, and if I'd have notched out all those pull tabs, I probably would have skipped at least one of the rings. Especially the thin gold ones. They're not going to ring up like a big banging silver coin. They're going to be down a little bit lower on that scale. And if you're skipping a lot of junk, you're going to skip some good stuff too,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've got a loyal viewer, a JBP hobbyist. She says she likes the trash and the good stuff. And she does like the trash because she takes all the trash that she digs and turns it into art. She's very talented.
Yeah, and some of the scrap metal these days, I mean, copper, aluminum, some of the other stuff, I mean, look at the economy. I mean, some of the metals have gone way up in value. So some of these guys with, 10-gallon buckets of copper, they're turning that stuff in and making a few bucks, paying their gas money and their food money,
Heck yeah. Well, we got somebody in the wings with a question. I'm not sure who it is. Oh, I do. I know who this is. So we'll bring her on. Hey, Barb.
Hey, how are y'all?
Good. You got a question for Steve?
I do. I have a lot of different brand detectors. I have started with the Garrett Ace 350, moved up to the AT Pro, bought a Deus. I have a Knox. I have a GPX. So here's a good question. The Axiom is what, $4,000?
That's about what the street price will be, yes.
Okay, so did you make a really good pair of headphones to go with it? Because I love my GPX, but it came with the worst headphones in the world. You don't expect to pay $2,300 for a machine, and you get headphones that are worth about $30, in my opinion. So what do you have to say on that?
You've got options on that, kind of like we talked about earlier. It's wireless ready. So if you want to attach a Z-Link box to it, you can run whatever brand of headphones you want. At the moment, it's going to ship out in one of the packages with the MS3 headphones. So if you've experienced those with Apex or AT Max, they have excellent sound quality. They've got volume control. But, I understand if that's not your cup of tea, there's other people that like other brands. Just, simply take advantage of the wireless capability, slap on a Z-Link box and, put on the ones you're used to, or plug in a set if you want to, have a wired set, if you're not putting the machine down and getting away from it quite a bit. It's super lightweight. That's the great thing about the Axiom. So if you've swung some of those other ones that are pretty heavy,
yeah,
this will be a game changer as far as the weight. And then for a cheaper price compared to some of those other ones, the performance is going to be tremendous. One of the main things that we're seeing on this is getting into the super hot grounds and hot rocks and stuff. There's kind of a side swing technique that we show in a couple of the videos online that really knocks out both the hot ground and the rock. Because if you've done prospecting, you know that you can balance to the ground, walk over a foot, and then burp, 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 you've got a rock, all big rock, small rock, you name it. Now you got to try to balance out the rock, and now if you adjust it to the rock and the ground's back in play. So we've got a ground balance window that's built into this. It will spread to accommodate most of those situations, but then there's also kind of a balancing side swing L-shaped technique that we used out there that really gets the machine quiet in areas where some of the other ones will say don't get quiet, and some of them have some kind of locked semi-adjustability or no adjustability to that kind of terrain. So with ground tracking, with different programs available, and with some of this built-in automated window for the spread, that makes a big difference for the game changer there.
Another thing is like with the GPX, of course, at digging in Virginia, that's what most people are swinging. So you could have 150 of those out there. And if you're running close to the same frequency, it's got that manual auto tune so that you can change your frequency really, really quick as you're near other people. Is it going to be that simple on the Axiom?
It's got a pretty sophisticated ability, for EMI and for knocking out other machines. So when you get out in the field and you got all these folks around you like that, you run the frequency shift on there. It takes a few seconds. I think it's half a minute or something like that. But what it does is it runs through 100 different frequency setups fairly quickly, and you'll see it physically pick 5 different numbers, 5 different frequencies that are the best suited for the situation that you're in at that particular moment. And then it locks in on one of those. So with that,
Awesome.
yeah, I mean, it's going to pick the best 5 and then pick the best one. And, all that said, you go to another field and 4 more people get up on you. You may have to do another frequency shift at that point, but we've operated them pretty close together and gold hunting in tighter areas. And once we got them set up, we have no problems with that. I'm not having to stop and adjust it quite a bit. Regarding Virginia, we did a prototype testing of one late last year out there, and it handled that nasty dirt really well. Dug some round balls and some mini balls, but it was still kind of hush hush, so we weren't able to really get out in front of everybody with it. But I know there's a group of guys, 4 or 5 of them, I know for sure, that are going to the hunt in November in Culpeper. So they'll be out there swinging it. And are you going to that, Barb, by any chance?
I am.
Yeah, ask for Miguel. He's in my marketing department. There's a couple other. I know Nugget Noggin's going to be out there, and a couple other guys swinging it.
I know Michael, so
I'm sure they would have no problem, putting you on it for 20, 30 minutes, letting you check it out, see how it operates. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to be doing some filming. They're going to hunt. They're going to hunt with everybody else. Hopefully, one of our dealers out there might have a couple, for people to sell or test drive. I mean, we'll see. But we're planning on getting those shipping out this month in the next few weeks. So hopefully there might be some available for that hunt. That's kind of the intention at this point.
Hey, Steve, since we're talking about that, that was one of my questions I have here. First, I like the MS3 headphones. I think they're comfortable, and I think they're really nice. There's no lag. The wireless is just awesome on that. But this is another question, and this one is from Simon. I can't pronounce his last name, so we'll just go with Simon. And he's asking the release date of the Axiom. Also, just a comment from him. He's really looking forward to this detector. I'm happy with Garrett, and it's been able to make him a good prospector. The Axiom and the 24K make the perfect combination. So that's what he's saying about him.
Well, we certainly appreciate that, Simon. And yeah, the higher kilohertz, the frequency on the 24K makes it really good, on those smaller pieces of nuggets. And the Axiom, to answer your question, I was just kind of alluding to that a second ago. We're doing some final fine tuning right now the next week or two. And then we expect to start building them and shipping them out the door before the end of October. We know there's some people with DIV and some other things coming up that are really getting antsy to get their hands on the machine. But we do have some really qualified people in the field testing a few little things right now, tweaking a couple of things. So, and a couple of them have told us, don't race to get it out the door 4 weeks after you announce it. If you need another couple of weeks, tweak it a little bit, get it to where it's right. And that said, the other good part about it is the fact, just like the Apex, you can go in there and hop in the latest software on that. So
right.
If we do some more fine tuning or add another program or whatever we choose to do, we'll keep you up to speed on Garrett.com so you keep your machine fine tuned and ready to go. But yeah, we do appreciate those comments, and I agree. I'm excited to get out there and just really quit testing and just go hunt for some gold here in a few weeks. So not often we get to do that,
Yeah, or relics, like Barb was saying, the Culpeper ground, if you're using the PI there, you're going to go extremely deep. And is it able to discriminate iron, being that it's a pulse?
Yeah, so what it has, if there's mono coils and double D coils, so if you've got one of the DD coils on there, it has an iron check feature. Now, on the tiniest little sliver of a piece of iron, it's probably not going to check on that because that is easily misidentified with gold. I mean, a little tiny sliver of gold, a little tiny sliver of nail, if you're discriminating that out, you're kind of getting dicey on that, especially if it's in the ground a few inches. Okay. So a little bit larger pieces, nails and larger pieces of iron, you can go over and check it and kind of get the grunt sound on that.
Right.
So it's going to help you eliminate or identify some of the iron, especially some of the larger iron, and avoid digging some of that. But the finest little dust-sized pieces, it's not going to get down to that level by choice, by default, the way it's set up, because then you're getting into picking and choosing and potentially losing gold. But we've had not just sub-gram, but sub 1/10 of a gram size pieces of gold found with the machine so far. Detector Prospector and a couple other guys that are, pretty well out there. Jerry McMullen and some of his team up in Idaho, they've been out to some of the nasty patches, and they've pulled big gold and they've pulled tiny gold. We've had guys in Australia, we've had guys in Alaska, Africa, a lot of different places testing it. So yeah, here in a few weeks, it's time to roll the Axiom out, put it out there, and let people start finding their treasure. And I hope to be one of them here real soon,
Well, awesome. Jeff, it looks like we somehow lost our feed on Treasure Talk Facebook. It looks like it stopped for me. Who knows?
Hey, I don't know.
But we're still live here on YouTube, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's still showing. So I don't know. It could be something up. So
maybe it's on my computer. Maybe it's me. But,
conspiracy.
At least I didn't freeze up anyway.
No, that's true. And you didn't, your internet didn't go out. Well, we want to thank Barb for popping in and asking the question. I think that feature works pretty good. And we only got a few minutes left. So, we'll do it again next week. I think that's a feature we're going to try to incorporate. It seems like
absolutely. But work.
Yeah, we appreciate Simon and Barb and everybody throwing in their questions like that, and hopefully she'll get out there and meet up with some of the gang that's running the Axiom out there, and give it a shake and really see how it does. Because when you're going back to places that have been hunted before, you got to overcome the ground, you got to overcome the hot rocks, you got to get a little more depth. You're trying to find what others have missed before, and it's better technology, better machine, and a good hunter with a good product, and that's what's going to do it. Beyond that, it's just simply putting in the hours, putting in the time, which is exactly what any prospector will tell you. If you think you're going to walk out there in 30 minutes and come back with 6 or 7 nuggets, it's not usually the case. You've got to have something good, and you got to learn your trade.
Absolutely. Now I know the Central Florida group's got metal detecting clubs having a hunt over on Saturday, so I know Garrett's going to be represented there too. Unfortunately for me, I'm tied up this weekend, so I'll be at the shop on Saturday morning. So hopefully I'll see some people there. And
yeah, and I want to just pass along my best wishes to everybody in Florida. Obviously, it's been a tough week. I mean, I guess, Phil, maybe you're not so much in the path of everything that went down, but a lot of people there are certainly affected, and our hearts go out to them.
Yeah, for sure. We got spared, further south of us. If you watch the news, it was bad. It was a bad storm, but we were blessed not to have any damage really, other than I had some power go off a couple days ago in the shop, but that was just for a half hour. I think they were hooking up some lines or something, but I didn't even lose power. Folks in my neighborhood lost power for days. So it's just kind of hit or miss in my area here, but further south, it was bad for sure.
Yeah, and those people that came from all over the country to work the power, to get the power back on, we need to give them a little round of applause.
Absolutely.
For the governor of the state of Florida, doing a great job.
Getting it done. Yeah, for sure.
Taken care of. So we've been very, very fortunate. Our hearts do go out to those in South Florida, and there's a lot of our treasure hunter friends that still do not have power and lost a lot of their property.
Yes.
And, so our prayers go out to them. It's, they'll be back. That's one thing about treasure hunters, pretty resilient, because you don't dig up 30 pull tabs like Steve did and then, and give up. You wait till you get those 2 rings.
You got to keep going for sure.
It might be the 7th hour or 8-hour hunt, and all of a sudden that next target, there it is.
There it is.
You just never know.
A long time for that one for sure.
That's
it looks like we're at that time, aren't we, Jeff?
Yeah, we are. This hour has flown by.
It always does. So we look forward to the Axiom metal detector when we finally get it out. So I'm sure people are going to love it for sure. And thank you, Steve, for coming on here. Thank you, Jocelyn, for helping me, and thank you, Jeff. We
Hey,
did.
thanks for having me on again, guys. Maybe we'll see you in April out in Texas if you want to get on a plane and come our way. But thanks again for everything you do. Keep it up, and best of luck to all your hunts.
Well, that'll be great. And we look forward to having you on again sometime after the first of the year. Maybe you can grab one of those Robertson boys and come on, and that would be that'd be a hoot and a half, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
But we're, I think I'm going to try and come out for that. That's going to be a good time. So
Love to see you there. Love to see you.
now that'll be a couple of good months because I'm going to go to Dig Stock and then probably see you in Dig Stock, and then we'll see you again probably out in April. So that'd be great.
They've got a big one, I think, on the East Coast in March, I believe it is. So I've heard that's supposed to be a pretty big hunt. So
yeah, that's going to be the big one from now on down in the Carolinas, I think. So, great time tonight, Steve. We can't thank you enough for coming on. Thank you so much for the wonderful giveaway. And I will get that information to you, plus some information about the other thing we talked at before the show. And we'll hope to see you again soon. And thanks very much for coming by and sharing your expertise and just being an all-around nice guy.
Absolutely.
Very good. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks. Well, everybody, that's it for us tonight. Phil, thanks, buddy.
All right. Thank you, Jeff.
I'll be in touch. And everybody, happy hunting and dig deeper. And always remember, if Phil doesn't have it in stock, you probably don't need it
Don't
anyway.
need it, for sure.
Right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.